Today I'm going to talk about two different ways of making a discovery. One way is that you try to solve a problem that everybody's asking. Everybody's asking, and when you solve it, they're going to get it because they're asking that themselves. But there's another kind of problem that often nobody is asking because no one notices that it's a problem at all. And this is especially true in biology or in psychology. And these often happen when they're the things or the features that you see or experience constantly. When you experience them constantly or see them constantly, you don't notice them because you completely adapt to them. So, in fact, even in the Science Moment series so far, I've given you several examples. And one of the things that you see most often in your life is your hand. And so there's all of these features and these incredible structures and this incredible design that needs explanation in your very hands, but because you see them every day, you think of it as vanilla and it needs no explanation. So, for example, we've already talked about why do your fingers have the particular morphology and bend in the ways that they do. The outside get bigger and bigger, the bone structures, but the insides have these similar length. Why? We talked about this, and it has a grip-related reasons. Why do we end up with these tiny kinds of wrinkle patterns, both on the backs and on the fronts in between each joint, and these kinds of wrinkle patterns here? These are presumably related to the kinds of minimizing the amount of energy needed to squeeze so they're not like springs and constantly pressing themselves to be open, and vice versa. We've also talked about the kinds of color patterns that you can see. You can see 2 dimensions of color when you squeeze your hands and the veins in the back of your hand, which is not related to your hands per se, but there's deep color wisdom underlying these 2 dimensions of color change concerning why we evolved color vision. Now here's a counterexample that proves the rule. Pruny fingers. Why do we get pruny when wet? Well, everybody's interested why we get pruny when wet, and the reason that this is a counterexample that proves the rule is because we're not always pruny. And so when we suddenly see something different on our fingers, we go, oh, this needs explanation. But this makes the point. All of the other design and structure that's evolved into our brilliant hands, we usually don't notice it at all. And sometimes the best kinds of scientific hypotheses are the ones that ask questions that no one noticed, because a scientist is able to sort of back up far enough away from 25,000 feet and say, oh, wait. Oh my gosh, this actually needs explanation.